All right, let's open up a cold case, a really cold one. We're talking 600 years old. And the victim here, well, it's human understanding itself. The culprit? It's this one single small book. A book that has stumped every codebreaker, every linguist, every supercomputer that's ever taken a crack at it. This is, without a doubt, the world's most mysterious manuscript. So I'm going to ask you right now, could you solve a 600-year-old mystery? Seriously, put on your detective hat for this one. Because today, we're not just going to learn about the Voynich Manuscript. Oh no, we are investigating it. And the big question hanging over everything is, after all this time, after centuries of failure, what on earth makes us think we can ever crack this thing? I love this quote. It comes from Yale University, which is where the book is kept now. And it hits the nail on the head. Quote, 6 centuries of genuine collective human failure. Think about that. We figured out ancient hieroglyphs, right? We cracked the Nazi Enigma machine in World War II. But this one book, it's still a total blank. The stakes here, for our own collective brain power, feel incredibly high.
Okay, Section 1, the case file is opened. Before we jump into all the wild theories, and trust me, there are plenty, every good detective knows you have to start with the facts, the hard evidence. So what do we actually know for sure? Let's open the case file. And our first piece of solid scientific evidence comes from carbon dating. They tested the vellum pages and boom, we get a date range. Sometime between 1404 and 1438. Now, this is absolutely crucial. Why? Because it proves right off the bat that this isn't some modern forgery. We're dealing with a real-deal 600-year-old artifact.
So where has this book been all its life? Well, its known journey is honestly just as mysterious as what's inside it. Get this. It was owned by a Holy Roman Emperor, Rudolph II, a guy obsessed with alchemy and the occult. He paid a fortune for it. Then, it gets sent to the smartest guy of the 17th century, a fella named Athanasius Kircher, to see if he could decode it. And after that, poof, it just vanishes for 200 years. I mean, look at the gaps in this timeline. This book has a seriously shadowy past. Okay, so let's look at the forensics report. This thing was not a cheap back alley production. No way. It's made of expensive calfskin vellum, written with high-quality iron gall ink. It's got about 240 pages, some with these really weird fold-outs. And here's a huge clue. Handwriting analysis shows at least 5 different people worked on it. And they weren't just doodling. They wrote smoothly, fluently, without hesitating. That tells you they were probably copying from something they understood, not just making up gibberish on the fly. All right, Section 2. So the physical object tells us a bit about what it is, a fancy old book. But now we gotta look inside for clues about why it is. Let's dig into the evidence that has stumped absolutely everyone, this strange script and even stranger pictures. The writing system has its own nickname, Voynichese. And the crazy thing is, it looks like a real language. It's got an alphabet of maybe 25 or 30 unique characters. It even follows rules. You know, like certain characters tend to show up at the beginning of a word or the end. The word patterns even follow a real linguistic principle called Zipf's law. But despite all that structure, it's weirdly repetitive, and it doesn't match any language we know of, living or dead. It's a total paradox. And then you get to the pictures. Man, the pictures. You've got entire sections that look like a biology textbook for plants, except none of the plants actually exist. Then there are these detailed astronomical charts, but with constellations nobody recognizes. And of course, the most famous part, pages and pages of these little naked women, all bathing in these bizarre, green, interconnected pipes and pools. It's like the topics are familiar, right? Botany, astronomy, but the way it's shown is completely alien. Okay, on to Section 3. So we've laid out the evidence. Now, like in any good investigation, we have our prime suspects. We've got 3 main theories that try to explain what this thing actually is. Let's bring them in for questioning. All right, suspect number 1. This is the big one, the leading theory. It's a cipher. The idea is that the text is actually a real language, probably something like Latin or Italian, but it's been scrambled with a secret code, to hide some kind of forbidden knowledge. And that makes sense. This was super common back in the 15th century for alchemists or scientists who are working on sensitive stuff. Suspect number 2. What if it's all just a big, elaborate hoax? A beautiful, convincing masterpiece of gibberish designed to do one thing: fool a rich, maybe a little too eager buyer.
someone exactly like Emperor Rudolph II, who, remember, paid a mountain of gold for it. In this theory, the goal wasn't to hide knowledge, it was just to make a quick buck.
And listen, this isn't just a wild guess. People have shown that with a pretty simple tool from the time called a card and grill, it's basically a stencil you put over a grid of letters, you could generate text that looks super complex, but is actually complete nonsense. So the point is, faking something with these weird statistical patterns, it was totally possible with 15th century tech.
And our final suspect, this one's maybe the most fascinating idea of all. It's a lost language. The reason we can't read it is because it's a real, spoken language that has just disappeared from history, gone without a trace. This book could be the last surviving remnant of a forgotten culture, or maybe the very first time someone tried to write down a language that had only ever been spoken before. Kind of mind-blowing, right? Section 4. Now, for hundreds of years, this case was ice cold, nothing. But, and this is incredible, in just the last few years, new tech and new research have given us the first real leads we've had in generations. The case is heating up. So, check this out. Just in 2024, a researcher named Lisa Fagan Davis used this high-tech multispectral imaging on the first page. And what did she find? Hidden notes. They were from a 17th century owner who was trying to make his own decryption key, trying to match the weird symbols to the Latin alphabet. This is huge. It proves that even 400 years ago, a smart owner of the book found it just as impossible to read as we do today. Also in 2024, another breakthrough gives us something we've been missing, a motive. Why go to all this trouble? Well, a new theory proposes the book is a medical text on gynecology, what they called women's secrets. Now that was a super taboo subject back then, and guess what? We have historical records of doctors from that exact period recommending that ciphers be used for this very topic. All of a sudden, we have a really powerful reason for all this secrecy. And this might be the biggest bombshell of all. A researcher figured out a way to create a complex cipher system using nothing but 15th century tools like playing cards and dice that could generate text with all the same weird statistical quirks as the Voynich Manuscript. Now let's be super clear, this is not the solution. It doesn't crack the book, but it's a huge proof of concept. For a long time, people said no cipher could be this weird. And this discovery basically says, oh yes, it could. It makes that cipher hypothesis stronger than ever. So moving into our last section here, if we have a plausible motive, women's medicine, and a plausible method, a complex card-based cipher, why is this case still open? Why can't we just solve it already? Well, because even with all our modern tech, this book is protected by what feel like a series of unbreakable intellectual locks. Okay, so here are the 4 big locks. First, there's no Rosetta Stone. We don't have another text to compare it to that could give us a key. Second, it's this impossible circle, a real catch-22. You need to know the language to check if you've cracked the code, but you need to crack the code to figure out the language. See the problem? Third, the text is just weird. It's a genuine anomaly that doesn't perfectly match any known language or cipher. And finally, you have the expertise gap. To solve this, you'd need someone who's a world-class expert in like half a dozen different medieval fields at once. Good luck finding that person.
And that's where we are today. We have this book, a book created by many hands, owned by emperors, studied by the world's best minds, and yet it's understood by absolutely no one. It's like the ultimate intellectual mirror. It just reflects back whatever theory we project onto it. So the final question isn't just, what does it say? It's, after 600 years, can a secret this old ever be broken? Or maybe should it be?